Ladies and gentlemen, let me present to you the Battle Arena Castle. This building can host massive fights between 4 players and up to 24 enemies. With upside the internal wall can decide which and how many enemies can get inside by opening and closing the lateral room's doors. Inside each there is a Draugr or skeleton spawner that can generate melee and archers of both categories up to 2 stars without mods. Each player has their own room to respawn in case of death, where they have a reinforced chest to host their equipment. Also on the walls they can read their player number, name, arena rules and agreement. From this room they can access the balcony for the elite viewers. While behind the bed, they can enter inside the staircase leading down in the arena. As an alternative, going downstairs, they can use a portal to get directly in the middle of it. Also, under the other staircase, there is another portal that will bring you to the observation level of the tower, where there is a last portal that will allow you and your visitor to get in and out from this structure. Besides the elite balcony on each side of the player's tower, you can find 3 viewers row with the last that have even some chairs. While in each edge of the level you can access the staircase leading on top of the outer wall you can use in case the arena get attacked from outside. And to make the defenses more efficient here, you will find not only the battlements but also the machicolations on the outer side of the wall. Says that, let's start to build this bad boy. First by first, if you place the stone wall normally, it will be too high and it will force you to terraform for the other part of the foundations. To minimize this necessity, place 2 stone floors that you can use as a snapping point to place the wall half under the ground. Then extend it with another 4x2 and add on both sides the pillars. Now extend another 2 walls followed by a pillar from one of the pillars. Repeat this process until you will get a squared wall. To complete the first foundation part, cover the internal hall with the stone floors. Well, you just build a 4x4 stone foundation. Well, now you need to repeat this structure until you will make a bigger foundation made by 3x3 of them. Then from the side extend some 2x1 walls followed by a pillar and connected by a 4x2 wall that you next have to cover with the stone floors. As a result, you will have a 4x1 foundation that you need to build all around for each wall side. From the just built small extension you need to add another 4x4 foundation. That as well has to be done all around, that will result in making a massive cross foundation. The last part is to add one stone floor all around the final structure. To do so, from any corner add the 2x1 wall and a small pillar at the end. Then remove the wall that you used only to get the pillar exactly 2 meters from the main structure. From here, going along the normal wall, mirror the same 4x2 walls and pillars setup until you will get to the other corner. While doing so, fill the hole between the 2 walls with the stone floors. Once reaches the other corner, you need to add a 2x1 wall and the pillar towards the outside, then another 2x1 wall and a pillar going along the internal wall. Next you need 2 4x2 walls followed by a pillar that you have to mirror the same way on the other side. Done this, all around is left only one small part to complete the foundations. In fact, in each internal corner you need to add another stone floor and surround it by 2x1 walls and a pillar. If you do everything correctly, this is the final result for the foundation you must have. Now, considering that you will need to repair the arena probably after each fight, you need the working station for this. The best spot where you can place them is under the central small floor section in each side, where if you lower or rise of the terrain and cover it with the wood floors, you can perfectly fit a stone cutter, a workbench and sideways even a forge. Once done, cover back again the hole with the stone floors and repeat this process in each side. Time to build a small wood beam between the first and the second floor in the small section. This is needed to be used as a snapping point for the iron gate to be placed exactly in the middle, that you can use to place a second gate attached to it. Once done, remove the beam that you used to place the gate correctly. Then place on both sides the 2x1 wall till it matches the gate height. Repeat this process on top of each small section. Those will be entrances inside the room for the spawners, that you now can build by adding in each corner the pillars and connect them with the 4x2 walls, except for the entrance side, where you have to use the 2x1. Then extend them by another level. Done this, you can connect the higher part of the walls near the gates. While doing so, you will face the problem that they will break immediately. To overcome this obstacle, use the stone pillars you can build near or underneath the section you have to cover. Then build the connection and remove the pillars that you used as a temporary support. The next step is to cover the room ceiling with the stone floors. Start from the gate side and go towards the outer wall. Repeat this process until you will create all the 12 spawners rooms. Time to build on top of the spawner rooms the Tribune. To do so, build the walls all around except for the frontal side. On the first floor line, place the stone stairs. For the next, use the top right wall corner as a snapping point for the next staircase. Then, using the stone floors, connect the wall to the staircase. Repeat this process on top of each spawner room, except for the central one that will be used for another structure. The next step is to add some Tribune railings. For this, you have to use the half walls that you need to extend on each staircase snapping point, leaving one block without. That will be used to reach each level. To make all the railings cooler, cover the top side with some beams. Then, on the end of each, place the standing torch to add some illumination in this area. While on the upper section, you can even add 3 chairs for the most important guest of the arena. Now you need the roof to protect the Tribune from the rain. To make it, use some 4 meters log poles in each internal corner of the structure. The one you will place on the higher section has to be extended further with the 2-meter one. Then, by using the 26-degree wood beams, connect the lower and the higher poles. Next, you have to connect each beam intersection with the log beams. And be careful to use the lower snapping point, otherwise they will stick out from the roof, that you have to place on top of them. To finish, extend the walls around the Tribune to match the higher part of the roof. Done this, it is time to mirror the same setup on the other side and repeat the Tribune building on top of the other 3 spawners room section. Next, the players that will fight in the arena need some space for their equipment and a respawn bed in case of death. For this purpose, you can use the section between the tribunes, where you have to extend 3 2x1 wall on top of the outer side of the lateral stone floors. The hole in the middle is needed to host 2 gates that you have to place on the external side of the walls. Next step is to add the 4th 2x1 wall on both gate sides and connect them on top of the gates, creating the entrance arch. The problem is that they will fall apart due to lack of support. For this, you can use the temporary pillar trick used for the spawner's gates. Once done, extend the wall on the other side normally. Now it is time to add the portals in the corners near the entrance. Then, using some small wood floors, add the small ceiling on top of them, from where you have to add a wood staircase and a pair of ladders, followed by a normal floor and another set of ladders, this time rotated towards the center part of the room. Now it is time to cover the portal's room, starting from the 45-degree wood wall on the ladder level and the 26-degree one on the stairs level. Then, below the first, place the half wall, while below the second, the wood gate. Now place 2 normal walls to cover the last section and the rocky part of the entrance. To finish, build 2 signs to specify that one gate will bring you inside the arena and the other inside the tower. As a bonus touch, you can make the gate's frame using the beams and poles. Next, in the center of the wall opposite of the entrance, you need to place the sconces to illuminate the room. While going on top of the staircase, you need to connect them with the small floors. And thanks to some normal floors, you can create a 2x4 floor connecting them to the wall. Also, you can add in the corners another pair of floors that won't be a problem while using the stairs. This will leave the 2x1 hole for the staircase that you can decorate with some beams. Back down, on both sides of the sconce you can add 2 small beams as support for 2 flags representing the colors of the team to which this tower belongs. Now we need to increase the stability of the entrance wall. To do so, replace the 4 2x1 walls with 1 small on both sides and 3 2x1 in the middle. This will move the rest of the tower weight we will build next on the lateral walls instead that on the gate hole. This also means that it is time to extend the tower walls. And while doing so, for the lateral follow the normal pattern, while on the back side place a 4x2 wall in the middle, because you will need the passage holes in order to access the staircase leading inside the arena. Fill these holes with the doors, but place them this way that once you will build between them the walls, the rocky part won't stick out. Next, add the 2x1 walls on top of the 4x2 and use them to connect the main wall on top of the doors. Then extend it to match the lateral wall level. Do the same job on the frontal side because you will use it to enter inside the balcony. A little note: if you will cover the walls beside the doors and the stone will stick out, move the door slightly inside and use it as a snapping point to build back the wood wall slightly away from the stone. To continue the tower building, you need to increase furthermore its stability. To do so, you need some iron poles that you have to extend from the central part of the lateral walls going down through the portal room all the way till the spawner's room, where you need to remove the floor to place the last pole in order to make it start from the ground level. Once the first pole is colored with the blue color, patch back the holes and repeat the same process for the other lateral tower wall. Now that you have enough stability, you can extend the iron poles and the walls by another level. Considering that the front and back of the tower is weaker due to gate and door holes, you need to add the iron beam starting from the upper side of the entrance wall that will be 1 block lower and all the way till the other side. Then connect both internal sides with another series of iron beams to create the square support. This will allow you to cover the tower with the stone floors. Then add in each corner the pillars and connect them with the 2x1 walls. But on one side you will notice that will be left 1 block hole that you have to patch with the 1x1 wall. At this point you can add on top of the walls another 1x1 all around, leaving 1 block hole between them in order to create the battlements. A little note: on the back and the front side there is 1 extra block space. This is why you have to center the central wall manually, disabling the manual snapping by holding the shift button. Once done, it's time to place 2 portals here, one to get inside the tower ground level, while the second will be the only way to get inside the arena from outside that you can link to your main base. Time to get back to the tower entrance and with the wood floor start building the balcony floor, extending a 2x4 platform on the level of the doors. Then add the 4 meters log beams for each platform corner as support and connect them with the log beams. Now get on top of the new platform and extend the external pole with another 4 meters. While the one attached to the tower by another 4 meter and an extra 2 meter one. This is needed in order to connect the external to the internal with the 26-degree beams. Then use another series of log beams to connect each intersection on both sides as support for the roof you have to add on top of them. This time for the balcony railing we have to use the 26-degree wood roof cross that you have to cover with the log beams. Considering you have the roof here, you can cover the stone wall with some wood. But if you do it normally, the stone will stick out from it. For this purpose, you can use the door in order to create a snapping point slightly away from the stone wall and place back the wooden one all the way till the balcony roof. But don't forget to remove the extra doors you used to create these snapping points. Next, to cover the hole between the walls, you have to use the log poles on the corners. Then, for aesthetic purpose, you can start covering the top part of the door frame level with 1 2-meter log and connect them with the 4-meter in the center. For the external log edges, extend another pole all the way till the roof. Connect all the corners with the 4-meter log beams, while upside the door add an entire small log wall on both sides. On top of the last one, place the sconces, while in the area between them 2 item stands. On the higher stand, place the Sortling trophy, on the lower the 8-tier trophy. The wall is done, and it is time to add some furniture in the balcony itself. To do so, place in the middle a stool that you have to cover with a small floor to create a tiny table. On the sides, use some item stands for 2 tankards, while in the middle you can place another 3 respectively for the stamina, health and the poison resist meats. To complete the balcony, on the sides of the small table add the Raven's throne, to be used by the elite visitors. Back inside the tower top room, you need to make it more comfy, considering this will be the arena fighter's room. First, use a wood pole and holding the shift button, move it slightly away from the central snapping point. Then, extend from it a wall in the direction from where you move it away. This way, once you reach the stone wall, it will be slightly away from it. This is needed to cover the stone wall with the wood wall without having any sticking out sections. That also will result in covering the iron beams as well. On the side close to the balcony, it will be slightly tricky to place the wall correctly using the new snapping point, so check its placement after you build each part of it. The same way, cover the other wall and extend the entrance and exit one till the roof. Once done, place in the middle close to the back door wall the dragon bed, to be used as a spawn point for arena fighters when they die. In front of which you also need the reinforced chest to allow the players to have several sets of food and equipment to get back inside prepared for the fight. For an extra touch, on the walls behind the bed use 2 half walls surrounded by beams and poles, where you can place 3 signs to write down who owns this fighter's room. In front of the bed, place the small one with the player number. While on one side build 2 normal walls surrounded by the beams and poles, where you can add the arena rules with 2 sconces, while on the other do the same structure for the arena agreement. To finish, on top sides of the player's number there is some space for a beam to be used as support for the flag that represent his team. Going out on both sides of the gates, use the log poles and connect the top side with 2 beams, in the lower part of which you have to extend the 2-meter logs. To cover the sharp edges, use another log pole on both sides. Down this, on both sides, add some flags, while on the top middle a sign where you have to write the player's number. Also, an extra pair of sconces can help with the illumination of the rocky part between the tribune and the tower wood supports. At this point, the first central tower is done, so it is time to get out and repeat the same process for each central tower. Now, to make it easy to get in and out from the towers, remove the stone wall beside the spawner room gates and replace them with the stairs. Replace also this section on the entrance to each tribune. To make it easy to walk between the towers and tribunes all around, you need to cover the holes between the gates entrance, but you don't have to cover the gates themselves. You will need to use from above to open the way for the mobs to get inside the arena. For this purpose, you need to use the 2-meter log beams that you need to place every meter. To be able to do so, near the spawner's entrance in front of the tribune, you have to use 2 wood beams to create the missing 2 snapping points. While for the tower entrance you need to extend several small beams from the pillar corner. All these beams have to be removed once you have placed the logs. Then, once you reach the corners, use the beams to place the last one at the end of the pillar, and connect the two side pillars also externally to create a square, in the middle of which you have to add another log to avoid falling this hole. Repeat the whole process all around. Next step is to get in front of the central spawner entrance on both sides, on which you need to extend the walls using the 4 2x1 walls on the sides and 4 small walls on the middle. On both sides of the middle one use 2 log poles, in between of which you have to place the scones to illuminate the arena. Then connect the top sides between the gates with the 2x1 walls. While in the corners place 2 pillars that you will use for an iron gate. This one will be used by the players to access the arena. On top of this gate you can extend a wall using 3 small stone walls. But this will leave you with a hole in the walkway. To fix it you need to use the log beams and rotate them the way they will touch the internal one opposite to the squared area. Mirror the same placement on the other side. Now it's time to add the battlements that are just the small stone walls with 1 block hole between them. For the corners use the central part as a snapping point and leave enough space between them and the next pillar. Once you do this work all around, it's time to get back in front of the central spawner gate. For decorative purpose add the log poles on the top side of the wall and on the bottom between the wall columns. On the side it is better to use the 2 meter to be able to easily snap another one below the first. Then place the poles on the entrance side corners. Here in the central section on top of the gates add a sconce. And to protect it and add some charm to the entrance use the dragon heads with 45-degree rotation that will result in them connecting one to the other with the tongue. To finish with the gate on the sides add the banners. On the side of this composition extend another 2 log beams, this time covering the section upside the scones between the gates. The same way, without covering this part, add another row of logs. The rest of the composition is the same except for the side where there is the player's entrance, where you just have to connect the corners following the same inclination using the 2 meter logs on the walls on top of the gates. For the final touch, add 3 log beams also on the bottom section of the wall between the gates. Time to move to the outer wall that you have to extend all the way up to match the height of the Tribune wall. That will be used not only as defenses but also as a staircase to connect the tower to the arena entrance. For this purpose connect the side between the tower and the walls with some stone floors. Then start to build the stairs going down from this point. When you reach the corner, use the stone floor to go around it, from where you need to continue placing the stairs until you will reach the level of the arena floor. Do the same on the other side of the tower and repeat the whole process for each tower. Now go in the end corridor between the tower entrance and the arena, where between the log square and the rest of the walkway support you can add a banner with the color representing the team of the tower owners going in the corridor next to it. While in the middle of the corridor before the staircase starts, place an iron gate as an extra defense from the arena mobs in case the player won't be able to close the main entrance gate. While on the wall between the banners and the gate, place a sconce to illuminate the area. Do this work for each arena entrances. Back on top of the walkway, you will notice that you have to finish the corners. Here add the 2x1 stone walls as the first element on top of the gate. From there you have to extend the stairs towards the corner, while from the pillar start to build the staircase all the way to reach the level of the wall top side, but you have to stop 1 block before reaching the walls. Once you do the staircase on both sides on one wall, you have to connect them with the stone floors to create the walkway all around. Once you do this for each side, add the iron gates on the first staircase and snapping point. While going back on where the stairs end, you need to extend the walkway floor from the end of the stairs till the corner, removing the 2 blocks that will stop you from using the staircase. Back to the gate entrance, you have to extend the wall on top of each gate to cover the hole. Now you need to destroy one level of external wall that must be 1 block lower than the upper walkway you just made. Start from the corner where you need to place the stone arch, disabling the auto-snapping with shift, and place it with 45-degree rotation, the way it will touch the lateral wall at the same distance. Next, remove the wall's level on the sides of this arch, and following the rotation of the wall, place a line of arches, removing one between each arch to create a small hole. You can skip the placement of the one in between because you need it as a snapping point for the next one. While doing this action, you have to patch the wall where the arches are placed with small walls. You will notice that reaching the other corner you will have 1 block extra space. So remove the central arch and place it manually between the last 2. While for the internal corner you need to extend the arches all the way till the corner and start doing this job on the opposite external corner. Done this, you can use the inner corner to place the same way a 45-degree arch and use its snapping point to intersect the last arches on the sides. Repeat all this process all around the external wall. Then, on top of each arch, place the stone pillar using its edge snapping point, and connect them together using the 1x1 walls. The only exception is the connection between the pillar in the corner, where you have to add back 1 arch between the 2 pillars and using a 2x1 wall place it in the middle of the external edges. Then remove the temporary arch you just added to be able to place the wall correctly. While in the internal corners you need to place it carefully to close enough the bottom hole, otherwise you will fall down when you go on top of it. Also, the internal corners itself will have a too wide hole as well. To fix the problem and avoid people falling down from there, place an extra 1x1 wall disabling the auto-snapping to create an extra small corner walkway. Then patch back the wall you removed to do this. Once done, it's time to add the small walls on the internal part of the wall around the tribune walls. While doing so, remove the stone floor on top of the staircase entrance and replace them with the 2x1 wall that you have to extend in order to create the railing in order to avoid falling down from the walls. Where in the corner you have to use 3 small walls and place the battlements in the external one. The main structural part of the arena is done, but to make it even useful and not only cool looking, you can add the spawners inside each room at the arena level. To make them work properly, in one room spawn the bone pile, while in the next the Draugr body pile. Repeat this process until all 12 rooms won't have the spawner. The spawn codes you have to type inside the console can be used only with devcommands enabled, so this part of the tutorial is, if you want to follow it, require you to enable the cheats. The cool thing about this is that once you fill each room with the spawners, it will allow you to fight up to 12 skeletons and 12 Draugr that can vary between melee and ranged, and with difficulty up to 2 stars. To be able to use them, you need to add Dash Console into the Steam Valheim Launcher property, and after you press F5 to show the console, type devcommands, followed by Enter button. Then you can use the spawner's codes, and they will spawn the spawner in front of you slightly upside the terrain. To make it appear at the same level of the floor, you have to destroy the floor and use the code from the level where the floor starts. The last thing you can add, if you want, is the player's portal hub in the center of the arena. To do so, in the middle, on top of each pillar location, place a normal stone wall, needed as support for the standing torches. Personally, to make the arena cooler, I suggest you to use the green one. Next, you have to add 4 portals using the external central 2 stones floor on each side, that you can link now with the arena portal you placed earlier in the tower ground floor. To protect them from the mobs, build in each corner 2 pillars. Then on both sides of the portal add 3 stone 2x1 walls, while in between them you can build the iron gates. Repeat this process until all the portals are behind the gates. Now get on top of the structure you just created, replace the pillar that is sticking out with a small wall and cover the wall area with some stone floors. In the middle on top of this area you can even set up a bonfire. And to finish, on top of each gate add a sign with the text that tells the player's number in order to help to use the right portal to go back in the rooms where the fight is done. While for an extra, you even can add on the sides the beams as support for their team banner. Done all of this, the arena is ready and you can finally test it out with your friends.